Welcome to our true crime podcast series dubbed Faces of Death. In this podcast, we explore true crime stories, suspicious death, murders, and all crime-related stories. To join or contribute to our true crime series, subscribe to our channel. As Africans, we have our fair share of criminals. And in today's podcast, we are going to talk about Africa's most dangerous serial killers. Number 1, Jimmy Maketa, South Africa. In the year 2005, in a small township village of Philippe in the outskirts of the beautiful, vibrant city of Cape Town, the farm workers who lived in the small township had no idea the horror that was about to unfold in the township. The pain, the fear, and the torture they were about to go through for 3 years in the hands of a serial killer and a rapist by the name Jimmy Maketa. Jimmy Maketa was a serial killer who stalked his victims, all of them women, raped them, and later beat them to death. He would first attack the men by beating them with crude weapons like iron bars, hammers, axe, and poles, and later proceed to rape the women and kill them too. He hacked the men to death as the women watched in horror. Those who survived the horrifying ordeal said he had the word Jesus engraved on his forehead with charcoal as a message to show his victims that he was in control of their lives. This serial killer made headline news in all South African news outlets from 2005 to 2007, where he was eventually arrested, and he later pleaded guilty to 16 counts of murder and 19 counts of rape. He was sentenced to life in prison. Edward Shimoli was a truly ruthless, evil, and a vile criminal. His criminal career reads like a thriller movie with a standing record of 14 murders, 88 rapes, numerous bank robberies, and a trail of bloody crime scene. He makes this list of serial killers because I believe anyone who kills, rapes, and keeps a record of his evil deed is a true psychopath. Shimoli grew up in Jericho, the Eastland neighborhood of Nairobi City. His friends and neighbors said he was the kind of a person you did not want to cross. He was not a fighter though, but he was good with a weapon. Despite his criminal spree, Shimoli managed to evade the police for almost 10 years, bagging him the nickname Carlos the Jackal after the Venezuelan terrorist Ramirez Sanchez. In the world of crime, he had 2 ID cards, one for Philip Pio and another one for Arap Sankok. Kenyan police nicknamed Shimoli Carlos the Jackal after the Venezuelan terrorist Ramirez Sanchez, who operated in Europe and the Middle East during the 70s and the early 80s, invading capture for nearly 20 years. It is reported that he hacked his brother-in-law to death and shot his wife in the head after he suspected they betrayed him to the police. He had numerous prison break attempts, and one of this dramatic escape was right after he was sentenced to be hanged. During an interview, he expressed his fears that he would be killed in prison. 2 months later, his body was lying in the cold rooms of City Morgue with a single bullet wound to the head. Moses Shitole, South Africa. Moses Shitole, also known as the ABC murderer, had a span of crime running for almost a year where he managed to kill 37 women and 1 toddler. Moses Shitole is said to have had a deep-rooted personal hatred for women. In an interview with a fellow inmate, Shitole confessed that he felt betrayed by the women in his entire life, and therefore his hatred towards women was justified. He said he was abused by his mother, who was also an alcoholic and irresponsible, and that left him in the hands of a stepsister who also abused him. He felt that these 2 women never stood right by him in his younger years. He felt like his own mother abandoned him, left him powerless, hence the revenge. His 38 murder counts gave him 2,410 years at CMAX prison. Cedric Mackey was a South African serial killer who was convicted of 27 murders between 1995 to 1997. Cedric Mackey had a series of criminal spree that included robberies, rape, and murder that lasted 3 years. He started his criminal career by attacking and robbing taxi drivers and shop owners, whom he later killed by beating them to death. He graduated to rape and murder by attacking couples. He would first beat the men to death as the women watched, and then rape the women, and kill them too. He committed these 27 murders between 1995 to 1997. He was later arrested and he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 1,340 years in prison. Rosemary was a South African police officer and a serial killer. Rosemary hired a hitman to kill her entire family for insurance money. By the time the law caught up with her, 6 people were dead. These included her own sister and boyfriend. She was active as a serial killer from 2012 to 2018. By the time of her arrest, she had received 4 million rands in insurance claim.